Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the Bikes and Brass channel. Just wanted to do a little video on the what we know so far about the Ford Bronco. This is what's important. I'm going to cut out all the probably gonna have to bleep that because YouTube demonetizes everything now. But I'm gonna cut out all the bad stuff, and we're gonna do a video on the new Ford Bronco. So one reason I want to talk about this is I am extremely intent on possibly buying one of these things. I think it would be good content for the channel, and they really are making one in particular, which I'll get to later, that I really want. You guys who watch can probably guess what it is. But anyway, let's talk about what we know so far. Oh, and by the way, I love to do off-road comparisons of the new Bronco to my military Humvee. If you want to check that out, please subscribe to the channel, and you can watch my progress of me building up my military Humvee. Sorry, had to get that shameless plug in there. But let's talk about this thing. So far, we know that there are three main versions. We've got, let's start with the, in my opinion, least exciting. We've got the mid-size crossover SUV type version that they've disgracefully slapped a Bronco logo onto in a shameless attempt to make some money. You know what? That's fine. They have to build vehicles like this so they can build vehicles like this. This is going to be their bottom line. It is what it is, guys. Don't complain too much. These things finance the development on the much cooler vehicles. So anyway, we've got this one. I'm going to dub it the Karen car. Most people call it the baby Ford Bronco. Probably won't look like that. Hold on, let's go back. In all reality, it'll probably look something like this. The only pictures we have of it so far from Ford, sorry, I'm jumping around, is this silhouette of it. And to me, that looks pretty darn close to this. Although, you know what? I just realized it looks like there's another window there, and there's no window on this one. So who knows? It might look maybe more like that. Nobody really knows any idea what the baby Ford Bronco will look like at this point. But spoiler alert, it's going to be your typical midsize SUV, and it is going to be a direct competitor with the Jeep Renegade. The Jeep Renegade sold well, so Ford wants to capture this market share as well, and it kind of is what it is. It's most likely going to have a four-cylinder EcoBoost motor, naturally, and it will only be available in automatic and a four-door. So that is fine. You know what? A two-door version of this would be kind of sporty, man. Kind of sporty. I wouldn't buy one, but it would be kind of cool. Ford knows the importance of producing crossovers for profitability and for market share and all that good stuff, because they stopped producing any normal sedans or anything like that, and are only making crossovers and trucks, basically, except for a few specialty models. So anyway, they know they got to do that. That's fine. The next two models, which are the quote unquote real Ford Broncos, I don't know why I said quote unquote, they really are the real Ford Broncos, are this four door and this two door. So let's start with what we know about the four door. The four door, along with the two door, actually, are probably going to have Ford's V6s in them. There's been some leaked information on the engine. That's probably what it's going to be. They're going to, I guess I'll just talk about both of these because they're similar. They're both probably going to carry the tire on the back in the proper place for off-roading, as we can see in these pictures. Both of them are most likely going to have removable roofs and doors. Obviously, the two-door is because they're off in this picture. But in all reality, they're probably also going to do the same thing with the four-door, because they need to be able to compete with the four-door Jeep Wrangler. And to not have removable roofs and doors would be a huge fail. And a lot of people get Jeep Wranglers for that very reason. Most likely are only going to be available in automatic. There hasn't been any news or any leaks about there being a manual version. And there's some pretty heavy off-road stuff. These are not glorified, well, I'm going GM here, but these are not glorified Tahoes. They're not glorified Navigators. So they are actual off-road vehicles, and we'll get to that in a second. Here's the two-door. Obviously, I think the two-door looks absolutely stunning. If I was going to get one, it would definitely be this version. I just love two-doors. I think they're awesome. Fingers crossed, maybe Ford will even surprise us with a manual. In 2020, a manual two-door factory off-road SUV would be a complete unicorn and would be so cool if they did that. Even though automatics are arguably better off-road, I would still get the manual. I know you got the manual two-door Wrangler. In my opinion, that's not the same thing. It's not as big. It doesn't look as chunky. And from the renders and the pictures, it looks like the two-door is going to be a nice gap that will be bridged between the two-door Wrangler and the four-door Wrangler, which is really cool. The two-door Wrangler is the Wrangler I would get if I was going to get a Wrangler, but they are tiny, which is good for off-roading and trails. But they're microscopic. They are so small. If there's a rear seat in there, there's literally no room to put anything unless you fold down the rear seat. This looks like it could potentially have a rear seat and a small space for groceries and whatever you want to put in there. So that's really cool. I probably wouldn't get the four door because the four door almost looks more like a full-size off-road SUV, which I'm not really into, but that is really cool. They're making that. I think that's going to be fantastic. So I'd probably go with the two-door, so I wouldn't have to be so cramped like I would be in a two-door Wrangler, but not so big that I can't fit in between trees and stuff like that on the trail. So let's get to some pictures. Starting with the four-door, because this is probably going to be the top seller in America. Let's take a look at that. So very likely it's going to look something like this. To me, this back end looks very F-150-esque, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It definitely looks like a truck tailgate, which is cool. It's not. It looks like this would probably fold down and the glass would fold up, similar to a Jeep Wrangler, which I'm fine with. That's really cool. It allows you to get a lot of big cargo in there, that kind of stuff. They look like fairly chunky tires. Keep in mind this is just a render. It's not an official picture. But based on what we've seen so far, it'll probably look something kind of like that. Sorry, this is real professional. I know I'm just on Bing Images. It'll probably have a front end with a nice big wide grille, kind of like this, and then a very trucky looking rear end, which I think is absolutely fine. It'll look good. It'll just be some crazy big full-size off-road SUV out on the road. Now, I'm out of breath. Gotta take a breath. Now to my absolute favorite, the two-door, which I'm so glad someone's still doing this in 2020. That's probably not what it'll look like. Hold on. So here is someone who kind of drew over a camouflaged one. It'll probably look something like that. There's an old school one. Sorry, bear with me here. This is most likely what it'll look like from the side. I think that looks phenomenal. Could be a little more gap for articulation, I think, in between those fenders. But we don't know officially what it's going to look like. It'll probably maybe sort of look something like that. The front end will probably have a very wide grille like this. We've kind of ruled out all options that are Ford Raptor-y looking, sort of like this. Now, if they made one like this, I think that would be phenomenal, but the grille would probably not look like that, and it's probably going to be even boxier than this type of render, so probably closer to this. Regardless, I think it looks good. I think it's down to personal preference. Something like this would be really cool. Phenomenal looking ground clearance. We will see if they stay true to their word and it's as trucky and off-roady as this. Now, for those of you who are worried it's going to become a soccer mom car, rest assured, for one, I think they built this to appeal to that market so they could go crazy with these two models, but there are a few features I'm about to show you that confirm that it's basically 100% not going to be a glorified Lincoln Navigator. This is a leaked shot of the interior. Now you might be saying, why does that matter? Who cares about the interior? That doesn't reveal anything. Well, some people with more keen eyes than myself were able to zoom in on certain parts of it, and I don't think I can because this is just Bing. Oh, I kind of could. But they zoomed in on the panels up here. Now those are very important because they deemed that this is actually going to have front and rear lockers. So any off-road vehicle that's worth its salt is going to have that. And the even crazier part is it's going to actually have rear steer. Now, I don't think any company is making a factory rear steer off-road vehicle at this point. For those of you who don't know, basically that allows the rear axle to turn in proportion with the front axle, usually to a much lesser degree, but a little bit, and that cuts your turning radius down significantly and allows for awesome tight trail off-road ability. It could probably make the larger two-door Bronco just as capable in tight spaces as the smaller two-door Wrangler. So that is really cool. And also ignore this. This is probably just a test thing, like a emergency kill button that will not be in the Bronco. Lesser notable things. This dashboard is incredibly square looking, man. I cannot believe they can get away with this for safety standards, passenger seat safety standards. It's literally got a shelf. And by the way, guys, this is not a render. This is the actual leaked image of the inside of the Bronco. But it's literally got a shelf right here, and another sort of part that juts out down here. That is really, really cool, really old school looking. I wish maybe they would have stuck something here. I know the airbag has to go there, but maybe it would have been cool to, I don't know, just stick something there. It's just a big wide open space. It says Bronco, I guess. I can't quite see what that says, but really cool. You've got your standard gear shift, which is fine. I don't care if it's a knob or a gear shift. I really don't care either way. I'm a little bit partial to the old school stuff. I'm not an old man, I'm 25, but I just kind of like the tactile feedback of a normal gear shift. And then you do have a knob, and this supposedly is going to select 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, and probably 4 low and 4 high. So that's fine, nothing wrong with that, saves a little bit of space. I do kind of like the Wrangler style where you just have 2 sticks. I think it looks cooler, but nothing wrong with that. The other thing that stands out, not to me, but I think to a lot of you techie type people, is it has this massive screen. I mean, you could watch movies on this thing. This is like a freaking computer monitor. I don't know if they're trying to compete with Tesla or what they're going for here, but this screen is just massive, and I'm excited to watch this video in 10 years and laugh at myself when they have screens the size of the entire dashboard or projecting it onto the windshield or whatever. But by today's standards, this screen is huge. This is ridiculous. So now that I'm talking about the screen, I want to bring this up too before I forget. Most likely, and I was reading this article here. I don't know if I can show it for risk of getting demonetized, but most likely they are going to have some sort of trail navigation GPS on here, which is really cool. They're going to have something where you can backtrace your route so you can safely get out if you're lost. And the other cool thing is they're probably going to have a system where you can communicate with other Broncos with a like a radio or a CB type of short range radio system. So that's really cool. I'm surprised Jeep didn't implement something like that already. So we'll see. If the Bronco gets as popular as a Jeep Wrangler, that could come in handy for sure. Now you have this, it looks like your standard sort of radio. It almost looks like they squeezed a CD player in there, but I highly doubt that. But just looks like a normal radio. Steering wheel looks good, chunky, looks like normal door handles, all that good stuff. So that is absolutely fine. Going back to the page, once again, we've got a little over 3 days before this gets released. We had this ad. You can check it out on the Ford website yourself. I'm not going to try and play it with my video recording software and all that stuff. But anyway, a lot of cool stuff. We do have some sneak peek photos on the Instagram page. A lot of it is kind of, obviously they're not, doing a full reveal. But you do you can see the rear end of it here. Looks kind of cool. Oh, shoot. It's trying to get me to log in. Yikes. Sorry about that, guys. I'll just refresh it and go through this as fast as I can. You've got some sketches. Oh, come on. So annoying. Well, anyways, that's basically it. And you've basically got the exact same content on Facebook. They did do a YouTube ad. The ad's pretty cool. Check it out for yourself. Pretty much the same content on Twitter as well. But yeah, it looks like a proper off-road vehicle. I think this is going to be a huge success. It looks like a real competitor to the Jeep Wrangler. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think of the new Bronco. Let me know if I should get one and compare it to the Humvee, or, excuse me, if I should get a Jeep Wrangler And let me know if I should get the 2-door and the 4-door, or the 4-door. And if you tell me to get the Mom Bronco, I'm not going to listen to you guys. So good luck with that one. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, please, please like and subscribe. I really just love the support. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Talk to you later. And remember to eat your greens and drink lots of calcium. Anyway, see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.